And we are live. Wow.
And we are live. It's quick tonight. Good evening and welcome to the Mountain Bears. I'm Aeson Knight, and of course with me is my jaded assistant, Techy Joe. How are you, dog?
What assistant?
Jaded assistant.
Your jaded assistant.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
What? I could have said my wacky assistant.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
Of course, then again, this is Mountain Bears, and people get the wrong impression about whacking.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So it's easier just to be old and jaded. I'll be old, you be jaded.
Hey, there we go.
Oh. So it's been interesting. A lot of good news, a lot of bad news, a lot of stupid news. So,
yeah, we keep having that.
Yeah.
Like the news just gets more dumb.
But, you know, for those who are unaware, this is the Planner Bargain Bin Week.
Yes, it is.
New collection.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You loaded up. And for, like, good prices.
Yeah.
Like, you came home with, like, an armful of bags.
Well, those are 6 planners. I already have bones for 5, and I got you a new planner that's very male-orientated.
Yes. I'm liking it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really liking it. I wasn't sure, like, the pre-printed form version doesn't usually work for me, but I'm liking this Happy Planner dashboard concept. Like, and I think that's what it is, right?
Yeah, you have the Wonderlist. It's a happy. It's a black and white dashboard format.
Hey, Donna. But yeah, so no, it's really kind of awesome. Like, I was starting to move stuff over. I haven't set up September yet, so perfect timing. Because that's usually my big problem is like, oh no, I just set all that up. Like, I don't want to change formats, and I do that to myself. I do that to myself. Like, I will decide that, you know, this thing I'm doing isn't working, and it's like, oh, but it's only like, you know, July 3rd. I just did an entire month, and I don't like what I did, so now I've got to totally change. And I'm like, ugh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
I'll go do that.
Yeah, well, and then you also are the type that just keeps doing it. Or you stop?
Well, yeah, and then there's some things that, yeah, I've just kept doing.
Yeah.
Just every week or like month after month, and it's like, yeah, this doesn't work.
Go for it,
yeah,
Donna.
this is the worst way of planning I have ever devised. And just keep doing it. Donna has a quick technical question.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'll pop it into chat, honey.
Yeah, really.
For those that don't know, or those that haven't heard, I am hosting Pagan Pride tomorrow. And, of course, Mystic PCs is the one doing the production.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, Q&A with folks that watch. I've never used that platform.
Yes, you're using that platform right now. There is a way to do Q&A in virtual chat, and I will pop back up and read your question for you that you get from them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, but yeah, Central West Virginia Pagan Pride tomorrow, virtual, online, starting at
9 a.m.
There we go.
Is when the drum starts, and I'll be with you throughout the day, going from one lovely presenter to another. We have some video content. We have some audio stuff. We've got Byron coming in to give some chats. Donna's going to be talking about Appalachian Pagan Ministries.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, we will be in full production. You're going to actually see me before the sun comes up and see me all the way through to the end. That's not often. But
Sweetie, the sun does not come up at like 9:30. We're starting at 9. That's not how the sun works. I know it's been a while, but that's not how the sun works.
Well, it isn't like I'm normally around it. You know, me and it has a great agreement. Yes, Donna will be on at 4:30 afternoon, and
Mhm.
we'll be talking about the stuff, and we can definitely take questions, comments. I'm also going to be doing readings throughout the day.
Mhm. And Gwen, if you're here, feel free, drop the schedule in the comments.
Yep.
She's here. She's always here, or she'll be here.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, that's what time I have to get up, Donna.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, Amy.
Probably more like 6. Hi, Amy. Oh,
How
my gosh.
Somewhere with no internet. Dear gods.
Go
to a cave?
Or Green Bank. Well, they have internet. That's not. I shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
They have no wireless. Like,
right.
wireless nothing.
Right. Oh, so what do you want to tackle first? Let's tackle the fireman.
Because the firefighter
off.
Yeah, that's a crazy story, and that is right out of Charleston, West Virginia. So the Charleston Fire Department in July had a firefighter that was found dead while on duty, Aeson Cuffy. And so there's been 2 big stories about this. One was that that the coroner's report was back, and this was an accidental overdose. Yeah, that's a fun one. And then there's another one as to whether or not firefighter Cuffy will qualify for $100,000 in West Virginia benefits, which are basically for deaths of firefighters in the line of duty. That kind of what you would assume would be like a house falls on him while he's working a fire scene. Apparently can also apply if he accidentally overdoses on illegal drugs while sleeping at the fire barracks. So, yeah. And then there's also a $365,000 federal benefit. So, yeah, it's been a lot.
It has been.
Okay, and Amy was in Ocean City. Oh, so bad you couldn't use it for anything major. Really? Really? Ew. That's sad. But yeah, sorry about your trip.
Yeah.
So take it away.
This is one of those that aggravates me, and it aggravates me for multiple reasons. One, the lack of drug treatment in the state. 2, the way that we treat people that have an addiction, whatever the addiction is.
Currently, the best words are substance use disorder.
Okay. I'll stick to my less mouthful of stuff.
True, but that's been a big topic in the state and in the country right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is that we've gotten used to using terms like drug user, drug addict, or saying someone has a drug problem. When we start doing that, though, in a lot of ways, that ends up being, negative terminology that actually stigmatizes people, stigmatizes the problems that they have, and can actually make the situation worse. So, substance use disorder.
Okay, substance use disorder. Whatever. You made a really good comment about it when you first brought this to me, and it was the one about that if this was anybody else,
on
the outside of this firefighter thing, they would get nothing.
Exactly. Like when you're talking about this, like there's a lot of problems with this story. Not least of which is that Fire Chief Jeff Jackson is trying really hard to push that he should get benefits. or that
Mm-hmm.
his family should get benefits. So I like the comments on the articles are ugly. They're just pure brutal.
Mm-hmm.
One, Chief Jackson has been very adamant in making sure to keep using the word victim of drug use or substance use disorder
Mm-hmm.
in this situation, and basically passing the buck up to the drug dealer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so coming back into that is some problems.
Right.
We don't do that elsewhere in the state. We, even in Charleston, has been a hot button issue
Mm-hmm.
about how to handle people with substance use disorder, especially those using needles.
Mm-hmm.
And needle exchange programs, and whether or not to have them, and what they should look like, and who should have access to needle exchange, and again, what that whole program should look like. But when it becomes one of their own,
Mm-hmm.
now suddenly,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this isn't about the person, or more importantly, you can see the person, the whole person, and you can remind us about all of his wonderful years of service and all of the wonderful things he's done, and that he is a firefighter and is more than likely been a hero in many situations.
Mm-hmm.
And you can separate that out from how his life ended and what led to that.
Mm-hmm.
But in every other case,
Mm-hmm.
that's not the conversation we're having. That's not the conversation we're having in West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time.
Right.
Most of the time, we're having a conversation about drug addicts. We're having a conversation about people making choices, people being stupid and deserving what they get.
Mm-hmm.
That's the conversation in West Virginia.
Right.
Ooh, Donna is here for us. So she says there is a huge debate over the word addict. Yes, there is. And she also says, however, let me say that in her humble opinion, when we start forgetting that we are the addict, we get complacent and relapse. Let's also be clear that a person who uses does so, they know the risks. It very technically is suicide, and most insurances will not cover suicide. That said, I do believe in providing help for the person wanting recovery. And
Right.
hello, Jessica.
Right. You're not the only one, Donna. But I want to go into that about what they found in his locker, what they found in his car, and how complacent this place was.
Well, yeah. So July, I believe 30th is when all this went down, if I remember my dates correct. One of my notes I didn't write. So there was one of our lovely news outlets here in the area did a Freedom of Information Act request for the report of that night. And what they found out was that as part of this investigation into his death, they did a search of both his car and his locker at the firehouse. So the car turned up a Altoids 10 or a Mint 10 with a rolled up dollar bill and a powdery white substance. And the locker turned up both two containers of a powdery white substance, if I remember correctly, and then a Gatorade bottle with what appeared to be urine.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the logical jumps here are that he was passing a urinalysis with someone else's urine, not his own.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least maybe his own, but from a period in which he was clean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nasty. We're there. The white substances are the interesting, weird part of the story. What he actually overdosed on was fentanyl mixed with a very unusual horse tranquilizer.
Right.
Not ketamine.
Right.
Ketamine is a little more normal.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they said fentanyl and ketamine, I'd be like, oh, well,
right.
You know, we've heard of that one. But no, this was something that is actually not even remotely approved for human use and has massive, massive human use issues.
Right, because it's too strong. It's bad for the body. It doesn't provide the pain. It's a bad cut. But my point being is these are locker rooms. Now, if anybody has been in locker rooms with any situation, changing clothes, getting dressed, you see what's in those lockers. You see what's going on. You can, if you're pulled for a drug screening anywhere else, it takes a sheer miracle to try to hide something.
Mm-hmm.
But there is no way that nobody in that department didn't know about it, didn't try to at least, and should have tried to at least assist in some sort of recovery, which in this state is freaking ridiculous trying to pull off.
Right. Well, and at this point, we don't know what the firehouse knew and when they knew it, or what they had potentially done, or even if his fellow firefighters had reported this, tried to help, offered help.
Right.
Like, there's a lot of missing parts of this story, and we are the first to admit that one.
Is there information in this story to begin with? And I think that it's bullcrap. Now,
yes,
in this state, off the top of my head, I can think of 2 buildings that are fully functional. They have been functional within the last month. One is a 280-bed facility, the other one's a 190-bed facility.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the old Bluefield Hospital.
Yep.
And Fairmont General.
Yep.
The state needs drug treatment beds. The state needs drug treatment facilities. Why in the heck, with the slush fund that we have from Morrissey, with the rainy day fund that we have from our taxes, are those facilities not going, oh, we're moving. This is what our area needs. Let's move it. They want to yell, we have an opioid addiction. We have an opioid problem. We want to paint everybody that's been on painkiller medication as a drug user in this state. That's why I drive 2.5 hours for basic medical care. But they can't, and anybody else, if it was anywhere else, they would be painting them as this, low down welfare queen, destroying her life. Look how terrible she was.
Well, yeah, ultimately. But it also speaks to a lot of the fact that we have functional drug users.
Mm-hmm.
Like just, people with substance use disorder, but, kind of in the same line as we had functional alcoholics.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same concept. Functional gamblers, functional adulterers, functional,
Yeah.
As in, you can be functional and have major problems.
Right.
You can have a job and a life and a family and a lot of things going on in a very positive sense. And either this is a closet use situation, just enough to like hang in there. This could be, sort of the premature accidental downhill slide.
Mm-hmm.
As in, like, life was going well, drug use started, things were still going okay, and instead of hitting rock bottom, there was a literal accidental overdose.
Mm-hmm.
way before the normal, time span in which typical patterns of drug use would dictate.
Right.
So that while everything is still held together, and like the cracks are starting to appear, bam, his drug use unfortunately led to an overdose.
Right. And continued to lead to an overdose.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's one to another.
Mm-hmm. Well, the scary part of this story is he went on 8 ambulance calls. 8 ambulance calls before he died on that ship.
Right. My question, however, is what occurred 6 months ago, 9 months ago. Whenever they test the hair, and if they release that, they need to go back and check there. Because
is that something that West Virginia fire departments do? I mean, because here's the thing. In routine workplace drug testing, typically it is not the same as say probationary, prison system based drug testing.
Right.
This is not your probation officer holding a stall door open and watching while you go. This is, here's a cup, fill it up. The same that happens in locker rooms all across the country with sports drug testing. So there are more options there.
Right. And he freezes. He's gone down. And what I'm, talking about privacy, I'm talking about the family. I think the family in themselves should require a hair follicle thing.
There we go. I'm back.
Welcome back.
Yes. So, yeah, no. And that would be a very good reason to use hair follicle testing, is that hides less. And it is less physically invasive on someone's privacy, in terms of ensuring that you're not tampering with those results through basically using, or passing off stale urine, or someone else's stale urine as your own.
All right. Good night, Donna. I look forward to talking to you tomorrow, honey.
We definitely look forward to hearing you tomorrow. Absolutely. So yeah. And it is very much a double standard.
Yeah, it's past double standard. It's ridiculous. 12-step programs are cute, but if you can get into them, the effects onto the family are very, very major. And we live in a society where, yeah, you get addicted because you put everything into something. And this was my point about the hair follicle thing. You work, and I've seen this in medical profession so often. You work and you work and you work hard and you work tired and you work sick. And you get thrown a prescription. You get thrown this prescription. You throw that prescription. There's a lot
more importantly,
lost it because
more importantly, you're trying to deal with rough situations. Our police officers, our ambulance or EMTs and other ambulance workers, such as this firefighter, fire departments, they do to some degree or a large degree deal with some really nasty situations that will stick with you for a lifetime.
Right.
And it can make those jobs very hard to do. And like everyone else, if you are a coal miner or you are a construction worker and your back starts to go out, you didn't start out looking to get high.
Right.
You started out trying to keep working. Like when the back pain started, you were looking for a way to get back to work. Right. Because we do not have a good social safety net system.
Well, we don't have a good social system. We also do not have a system for mental health. If a firefighter, if an employed firefighter, there's a difference between voluntary and employed. If a policeman goes for therapy, they're took off duty. they're benched. So it's not even encouraged. It should be part of the thing.
Well, yeah. Well, but it's also one of those situations is trying to recover from a stressful situation while continuing to do normal duty.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's normally where that comes into question is, do you really want to play with that situation?
Right.
As in, you're continuing to accumulate stress. At the same time, you're already saying, I need help for the stress that I have.
Right. But if it's the same thing, because firemen and policemen both have to train so many hours a week, so many hours a month. If they have built-in therapy there, I think we'd see a lot less of the police brutality, a lot less of the problems, a lot less of the drug use, a lot less of the breakdowns.
Absolutely.
And a lot less of the suicides.
Absolutely. But no, this is a story with a lot of hot topics attached.
Well,
there's nothing else you can say on this, and pun intended, we guess. It's a story about a fire department. Hot topics.
Yeah.
Too soon?
No, you got it good.
So yeah, I mean, there's just so much attached to this.
Right.
That is problematic and like further evidence of the problems we have not only in West Virginia, but around the country.
Yeah.
With trying to work our way out of drug problem.
Mm-hmm.
That we or moreover even defining the line
right
between drug dependence, drug abuse, recreational use,
mm-hmm.
And where we need to respond, when and how.
Right.
Because a lot of it is that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is we need to take the damn shame off of it.
Yeah.
All of it.
Absolutely. Well, and then we turn around and we also see that even within our elected officials, like how many scandals does it take before we realize this isn't a class issue? This crosses class boundaries, age lines, and well, forget, our elected officials. Look at our religious leaders. Hi, Ted Haggerty. Anyone there? Like, okay, got it.
Right.
But hi. We can't seem to grasp or only want to work with trying to fix our drug problem in the country when and only if it affects people that we already want to demonize.
Right.
The poor. People who have become poor. People who need government assistance, people who are trying to do impossible jobs. So no, I don't know what the answers are. That's key one. But I think this is a story that definitely should be like a giant dialogue point.
Right.
The conversation.
Yeah.
Hello, Kathy. Glad you made it.
Yeah. Welcome in, Kathy. But no, this one was one of those, and it was one of those that we actually had a big debate on, because you were saying if you take 10 people, which right now we have about 10 people watching live on one platform, out of that 10 people, what were the numbers you were giving me?
I was going with a Pareto distribution. 2 in 10 of them are going to have a problem.
Right.
At least 2 in 10. At least.
Yeah, and I was saying that it was much higher than that.
Yeah. Well, I was just pulling numbers.
I know.
Just as an example. But and that's not just 2 in, like, if you go with that Pareto distribution, that's not just 2 in 10 that are on welfare. That's 2 in 10 in our Congress, in our, state government, in our wherever.
In our
church. In your grocery store.
Yeah.
you know, if you just thought about it in those terms.
Mm-hmm. And think about it in this terms. Most board of directors in the state of West Virginia have at least 10 members on there.
This is true.
Most fire departments and police departments have at least 10 members.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and my whole point was that if you just start looking through the world in that lens,
Mm-hmm.
you will start to really think about this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's no longer just about like, oh, that person looks like, a drug addict.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to switch back and forth in my head between like what someone else would be thinking to themselves versus when I'm using substance use disorder to describe people in general.
Right.
So it's taking me a moment tonight, guys. Sorry. So, like, if you're looking through the world, through that lens of the world, and you start, expanding your definition of who those people are, that those people are cookie baking grandmas. Those people are church leaders and youth group leaders and, the nice guy that lives in the decent house down the street. And, like on and on and on. And if it's not him, it's his kid.
Right.
Or both.
Because it's pattern, and they have proven this. It is pattern behavior. If your parents had a problem, you are more indicated to have that problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and then again, by statistics, I should be an alcoholic. I really, honestly, truly should be an alcoholic. Like my one redeeming factor is somewhere my genetics screwed up, and I can't deal with alcohol.
Right.
It's no fun for me. I have 2 drinks, I'm having an okay day. I have 3 drinks and I'm hugging a toilet. Like there's no like in between.
Right. But say that we do the Petri discs and make them mini Joe. We're gonna have to school them like, you don't drink.
There you go.
Because that's the more likely transfer.
Yes. So, yes, and Kathy says, as a stagehand, I work crazy hours like 42 straight, and we are considered high risk as firefighters and police. I never use drugs to help me stay awake.
Please, honey, I've used no-dos, I love my mini thins. Like, if those ever came back on the market, woof.
Well, or better question, Kathy, but how many Red Bulls or Red Bull-like drinks? Yeah, I'm just curious if, like, you were able to power through it without, like, caffeine, like, and I know that's not, like, drug use is the way we think of it.
Right.
But it is.
Yeah.
And it can be just as dangerous. Like, how many kids having heart attacks because of friggin' Red Bulls?
Right.
Before we get the concept that, yeah, no, stop that. Like, that doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
None. Awesome.
Wow. And it may have been that they weren't out during that time, too. Because you got to remember, we didn't live in a world of Red Bull up until 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah. But a lot of coffee was like me getting through high school, that was 3 pots a day. I carried a thermos to school. Again, at a time in which no one even asked me what that was.
Right.
Like, no one cared.
Right.
Like, I could have gone to school with a and I mean a giant, like, thermos. I can't get far enough back, guys. It was a giant thermos of coffee, and it could have just as easily been alcohol.
Yeah.
It could have just as easily been, I was the school GHB dealer.
Well, the school I went to, there was a few that came to school every day with a flask in their bag. We all knew it. Everybody knew it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. We knew who had the whatever you needed, where to get it at.
Mm-hmm. Well, in my high school, our I do have to say, our drug dealer was not as dumb as you would have thought.
No.
Like, he was actually a very intelligent guy. Figured out that by family situation, there was no way he was going to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
And he literally sold drugs to finance his way to college.
Mm-hmm.
And he was still a decent guy. I've got to say, he didn't handle anything hard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, he was one of those. He wasn't like, he had rules.
Mm-hmm.
He had ethics
Mm-hmm.
to a degree. Granted, we're talking about the sale and distribution of drugs. But if you're going to consider at that point
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of these kids were probably safer buying from him
Mm-hmm.
than some dude they don't know.
All right. And see, that's another problem that isn't being the fire chief's trying to tout here.
Mm-hmm.
Is, oh, it's the dealer's problem. No, this is not McDonald's. You don't get to blame for McDonald's for your choice of the menu.
No. Well, but then again, you've got to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
McDonald's coffee case. Hi. You do have to watch out in that situation. Again, we're talking about drug dealing like it's a legitimate business.
No.
As in fully recognized, etc. If you approached drug dealing like a legitimate business,
Mm-hmm.
you would be in that situation, you would be responsible
Mm-hmm.
for the quality of your product.
Mm-hmm.
And the purity of your product,
Mm-hmm.
and what it has been mixed with, as well as what, harmful effects that may cause.
Right.
So yeah, there would be a degree of blaming the drug dealer
Mm-hmm.
in that scenario, like if you were to put it in those terms. But the actual choice to use, knowing that basically minus marijuana, no other drug you're going to use is going to be, even in its purest form, that dependent upon how you're using and how long you're using, is going to be without risk. And that's the same as, alcoholic beverage companies.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same as tobacco companies.
Mm-hmm. That's the same as soda companies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and the same as McDonald's, and controlling the quality of their product. Mm-hmm. Because that, while everyone, made a big laugh about the coffee's too hot, this wasn't just about the coffee's a little much.
Mm-hmm.
It's that they were serving coffee at dangerous temperatures.
Right.
That no one should have been handed coffee this damn hot.
Right, because it was twice the temperature of normal coffee.
Mm-hmm.
But, and this is what has always got me. Technically, and this is the way it used to be, if you were a bad dealer, you didn't stay in business.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're a bad dealer, you go to the other side of town. And you still keep dealing the bad shit.
Yeah.
But there is, in this state, it was what, May? Or March? It was either May or March. I was working with someone trying to get into a treatment program.
Mm-hmm.
There were no beds in this state. There was a waiting list of 48 people just waiting to go for treatment. And in that addiction cycle, once they want to go to treatment, they need to go to treatment. There needs to be a place then, that moment, no question. Put you in the car and take you there. Well, that's how the state deals with it.
Well, and exactly, that's the larger point of it, is that we don't have the facilities. And then there's also the fact that the majority or majority is a wrong term. A lot of people, the only way they're going to end up clean or sober or off drugs, however you want to word that, is through prison. If they can't get into treatment before that happens.
And that's
assuming a lot of things go right.
Right. I mean, how often have we seen drug problems in our prisons with our prison officers making the profit, by the way?
Oh, poor Emily. We are so sorry you have a headache. Hopefully the Aleve does kick in soon.
Yes.
But thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Kathy actually has a caffeine issue. So wrong choice. But no, I've been there to a degree. Band, high school. Every competition we had, as one of the bigger dudes who ended up loading the truck, that basically meant for every competition, I got to that school at about 4 a.m., if not earlier. We did not get back until about 2 a.m. the next day, and then we had to unload that truck before we could go home. So there were many times I literally would leave the house at like 3:30 in the morning to like grab breakfast or try to figure something out on the way to the high school, get to the high school, start working on getting all this stuff loaded on a truck, go all day long, have to do a band competition. Thankfully, I was sidelines, and turn around, come all the way back, then unload that truck and still not get home until like the next morning, and in nowhere in there have I slept. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Oh yeah. But all right, so looking at things, let's take it another page and let's look at another story that came out last night, and I shared it on Mountain Bear's Facebook page. But Gigi Devane, RuPaul's drag queen, she was on 2 different episodes. Very great. Bayou Queen. Dear sweetheart, passed away from pneumonia.
Yes, at age 34. So yeah, that's been a really rough story. But it looks like that may not be a COVID-related death. Because
she was at high risk, but it's not a COVID-related death.
Right.
It's an autoimmune disease death.
Well, I was seeing it. So Scleroderma is an autoimmune disorder? Okay. Because I was reading about that. Like, I thought that was just, and it is, I thought it was just like a dermatology thing. But it is, but it isn't.
Right.
It's like, I had thought those terms were like, people who had like really bad scarring, that like, as in their skin just didn't act normally. In some situations, like, a mosquito bite would just become huge and things like that. I didn't understand that was actually like a whole body skin disorder, and it literally suffocated organs to the point of non-function. As in the skin around your organs would keep getting thicker and tighter and harder until like your heart can't beat or your lungs can't expand. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, that was like, really? Like, I didn't know that was a thing. Like, how did I make it to this age not knowing it was a thing?
Well, there's a lot of things that, because we don't deal with the conditions, don't, even think of them.
Yeah.
RA, fibromyalgia, there's like 35 autoimmune disorders. These are the 2 most popular ones. But there's a lot of those that people deal with every day, everyone thinks it's no big deal,
Mm-hmm.
or oh, they're just tired, or oh, they're just lazy. They're
Well,
not.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's how a lot of the world views those disorders,
Mm-hmm.
or that it's not even a real diagnosis.
Yeah.
It's the diagnosis you get when, well, maybe there's something wrong and you keep coming back, but we can't find anything, so we're just going to slap this on you.
Right.
So you'll shut up and go away.
Right.
And there are doctors that do that.
Oh, yeah.
There are doctors that do that. But that doesn't mean the symptoms are any less real.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean the problems are any less real.
Mm-hmm.
The life effects of that are not any less real.
Right. Now, what I am surprised is nobody released this. Like, she didn't talk about this. This wasn't part of her platform. Nobody, and there's been some queens that come out and talk about things. Like Jinx Barnes, she has narcolepsy. So, and that was like a thing on the show, and there was a full discussion about it.
Mm-hmm.
Chi Devane, they never talked about this.
Well, apparently she had started to talk about that on social media somewhere. I think it was Twitter. She had just started to like talk about it. Right. So I don't know if it was a new diagnosis or some problems had been getting worse, leading her to like talk about it.
Right.
Because that does happen. Is, you know, it's kind of like the Lady Gaga effect. I think Lady Gaga, and I cannot remember right now. Do you? Oh.
Give me where we're jumping to, and I can fill in the blank.
I'm trying to remember. She does have a disorder.
Yeah, it's fibro.
Pardon?
She has fibro.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like no one got that for the longest time, and then it seemed like she was having to like make some changes and shifts. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh yeah, by the way.
Right.
And I think that was the biggest like celebrity moment in which everyone's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, it was weird. Like usually a celebrity comes out that they have a condition. And it's like, oh, poor them, so horrible. And then like somehow you see their career deteriorate.
Right.
Like no one wants to work with them. No one wants to be part of that. No one, you know. And I guess in a lot of celebrity situations, they push it too far.
Right.
As in, like, and she could have. Like she could have really pushed, like, I'm rolling on cloud 9 right now.
Right.
Every year's getting better and better and better, and just run it till it runs out.
Right.
And like when that tank's empty, go, well, okay, that's it, I'm done. And I'm gonna go into my quiet retirement now.
Right. But you know, and we've seen that a lot. I mean, look at Back to the Future. Oh, what is his name?
Yes. Oh gosh. You just had to.
Michael J. Fox.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
He knew it 2 or 3 years beforehand, but covered it.
Yes.
You know, if you look at some of his stuff, he's making movements and stuff 2 to 3 years before it's released.
Yeah, Parkinson's. Which is, yeah. That's... Well, but I want to go back to Lady Gaga for a second. Am I the only one after her fibro announcement went back and looked at her videos totally different? Like, as in, when she did the music videos and the songs that accompany them, that, like, it was like, oh, that's just really cool pop music. And then afterwards, I'm kind of going... That's like a whole nother layer there. And it's like, was she kind of even then like expressing the pain and struggle and what all was going on with her body? through her music and the videos that accompany them. Because you look at like some of the outfits that are like constricting and, you know, heavy, or, you know, make it hard for her to move. And then some of the like the lyrics of her songs, like I took it all differently after that.
Right. I
And
haven't
was like,
done it.
oh, that seems so like obvious to me now.
Right. I haven't looked at them. I rarely watch music videos because, you know, MTV stopped playing TV.
Well, I mean, like Toxic, or not Toxic. I don't think. No, it's not Toxic. Oh,
Romance.
Thank you. That was the one.
Okay.
Yeah. Like if you like re-watch that video, like, and keep Fibro like forefront, it's totally different. It's like, oh my god, because I think that was the one I either saw or she released, maybe either right before or right after.
Right.
Yeah, that was the one that totally changed for me. But anyway, sorry, going back to Chi Chi.
Yeah, but you know, great drag queen. I will say I am glad to see some of the drag queens that worked with her come out and talk. You know, RuPaul done a very nice statement. Word of Wonder and Logo and VH1 all done that. We send our condolences. The queens, however, have been filling it in, and that's where you start to see where the interlinkings are within their careers. Because there are some queens that you think, A and B do not get along. Well, really, they do. You know, they've been, you know, big, long Twitter messages and memories. So I kind of like that. I do think that it's going to, however, I think there needs to be a talk. I think there needs to be something done with RuPaul Drag Race when they lose queens. You know, because in the old days there'd be memorial balls, fundraising for the families. You know, so we'll see what happens, you know, with that in general. What else were we going to talk about?
Oh, we had the exposure tracing of COVID-19 on cell phones.
Go for that. You do that while I grab something.
Oh, you're grabbing stuff. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, all right. And I get center stage. Cool. So if you've been online, in the last few days, especially Facebook, there has been a thing going around about go check the settings on your phone. And in there, you will find that there is a COVID-19 setting for exposure tracing or exposure logging. And so we really wanted to talk about this one tonight for a very good reason. There you go. You're back. But we wanted to talk about this one tonight because a lot of people are making it about a like government surveillance, like Big Brother always watching you, kind of thing, when that's not how this works at all.
Right.
And wasn't the intent of how it's even developed. And access to that data is a double opt-in, possibly even a triple, depending upon how you want to think about it. Okay, so one, in order for this to work, one, your state, country, whatever locality has to have a app developed by the county, state, etc. health authority. That is the only places that are being allowed to place apps to use the data into the marketplaces of Apple or Google. Two, you have to, even if you have that app, you have to turn on this setting. So double opt-in already. And to use that data, for it to be beneficial at all, you have to give consent and choose to share that with that public health agency. And that's only if you're diagnosed.
Right.
Only if you're diagnosed as COVID-19 positive.
Right.
So triple if you really think about it. So here's the other part of that. When we talk about tracking people, kind of gets interesting with this app, and I want to dig into it a little more before I make a lot of deep statements. But one of the things being brought up about it is that the way this app works is it's using Bluetooth on your phone to send out a beacon, and that beacon is effectively, hey, I'm here. What's being done with that beacon is that it is a changing code that will register with someone else's phone and vice versa. That these two codes cross paths. Now, what I'm anticipating is happening is that this is going to be a double-blind situation in that you don't know whose beacon you received, and they don't know who they received, which is clear from the way this is written, and that, in addition, that public health authority isn't going to know either.
Right.
But your apps will know and be able to cross-match each other.
Right. And another thing is a lot of the stuff that goes on in this app, they're already doing. You know, I go near freaking Dollar General. I look and Facebook is asking me questions about Dollar General. I go near, last night I was at the laundromat, Google popped up and asked me to review the laundromat.
Location awareness is a big part of our phones already.
Exactly. All this is doing is turning into something for us to use it. Canada's already went live. Taiwan, it wasn't an opt-in question.
No.
It was, we are sending this out today on every cell phone in this country. It will be accessed. It is going to get used. Get over it.
Yeah.
Switzerland has deployed it. Britain is looking at a system, but they're having privacy questions. Britain is one of the countries that has a very strong question on privacy.
Yes, they do. They and that's and consent to use of information.
Right.
Because with Great Britain, you own your data. The same, I believe, also holds true for Germany.
Right.
You own you.
Right.
Everything about you, where you go, what you look like, what you bought, when you bought it, how you paid for it, where you went online, what you did while you were there, all of it. You own that. And you can decide how it's used.
Right.
Or not.
Right.
As in do not use.
Right. But do I think this is useful? Oh, yeah. Am I so tired of hearing people go, but it's restricting my freedom all over Facebook?
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah. Well, and especially by people who, and we've had that discussion. Guys, if you're installing apps, take a second instead of just hitting allow. Read what that app is asking to access. Your microphone, your camera, your storage, your location, your phone number, because a lot of apps, we've gotten so used to the idea that, with end user licensing agreements, is just hit OK. No one reads it.
Right.
Because of that, we have also become very complacent with hitting agree, allow, okay, yes, whatever, just finish and do the thing. That in many instances, we're not reading all the little things.
Right.
It's asking us. And what you may notice is sometimes you're going to have a very strong question. Why? Does this app need access to that?
Yep.
Why does a game on your cell phone need access to your location? Are you playing with Pokemon again?
Right.
Like, that's a location-aware app and needs to know some stuff.
Right.
Granted, there's still some privacy concerns with that. But that's a point in which an app asking for location can make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a choice you're going to have to make.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're playing Scrabble, if you're, doing word search, if you're, saving the princess from whatever, why? It's not an overlay for a location. That's not how this works.
Well, not only that, but how quickly in this country did Pokemon Go take off? I mean, we had people finding dead bodies all over the place.
Yes.
We had people killing themselves because they walked off the edge of a bridge trying to catch a turtle.
And not concerned about the privacy concerns.
No.
Like, no one cared.
Right.
And that's been a large part of the problem. Like, if you want to sum up the problem with cybersecurity over the last 3 decades, that's it. No one cared. No one questioned. No one paid attention. And too many people were too complacent with the idea of, okay, whatever, it doesn't matter to me.
Right. Well,
I don't understand what you're asking for or why it might be a problem. So I'm not really going to think about it.
Right. Well, the media star / writer, author, social media marketing guru, Gary Vaynerchuk, said about 4 years ago in his books, Jab, Jab, Right Hook, our old idea of privacy is gone.
Yes. Absolutely. And has been. Absolutely has been gone.
Right.
We gave it up one free app at a time.
Well, we
started this problem when we would freely give away our email address for a download. You want to give us your email address. You want to join a site, give us your email address. You want to post in the forum, give us your email address. You want to do this, give us this. And we didn't read the terms and conditions or care what that was going to mean for us.
Right.
So we got Viagra ads and we got ads for, this thing and that thing and these toys and that stuff.
I never get those. I always get the ones for the breast enhancements. I'm like, my tits are great at a size B. I don't need them to be any larger.
That's because you buy makeup. Right. That's what's screwing yours up. You buy products in health and beauty. You're assumed to be female in marketing and advertising concept. They automatically hit you with the female equivalent of Viagra ads. How to make your tits bigger.
Right.
That's it. That's the analog.
Who knows? It just drives me crazy. Of course, it drives me even crazier with Facebook, especially if I'm researching something or digging into something, because I have figured this out over the past 2 months. I can read a research paper in like 10 minutes. I've been working on the same novel that's a fiction novel for about 3 months. Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with, I think with a research paper or a published study, you are like, those have a very specific focus. And everything that you're reading in one leads you to a conclusion or is shaky towards coming to that conclusion.
Right.
And that's the only 2 things it can be. It either supports it or it doesn't.
Well, I start seeing what I call overlooked data. That's like, you didn't look at this comparative to this, comparative to that. You just looked at A and B and forgot there was a C and D even in this study. and then I'm able to take it away. But like the stand, which I want to talk about that too here in a minute because it was quite funny. I got to where he was describing the dresser, and I'm like, done. I will watch the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is you don't do well with figurative reading.
No.
In which you're like being is supposed to be pulled into a whole scene.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, no, I want to get what I want out of this and get out. Like, I don't care how many knobs or drawers or whether it was white or brown or blue or a little bit blue but kind of gray. Like, none of those kind of like esoteric things are things you are mentally engaged by.
Right.
Like that, you don't care about the scene. Just get to the story. Like, tell me the meat and potatoes of this. Not, the plating and the cutlery and the meat and potatoes. What did you have to eat?
Right.
So yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Why those would differ so greatly for you.
Right.
And we do so I think right now we're basically done with this one, right?
Well, we are.
Oh, okay, because I do know that we have a question and we have an Emily comment.
Okay, cool.
Yay.
All right, we'll take Emily comment first.
Okay. Speaking of research stuff, I have been having way too much fun watching a series of lectures on Western art history by a professor who went viral on TikTok.
Cool.
Which is friggin' cool. I mean, can we just talk about that for a second?
Yes.
This is kind of the power of technology moment. Is like obscure people that you would have never found out about. Like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, never would have crossed your path because they're on the other side of the country and da da da. A 2-minute video, a minute video, a 30-second video can actually go viral and bring them into your life.
Right.
Like, it's amazing.
Right. Well, it's like, and I think that is part of the reason why the U.S. government, namely the Cheetah, has took on TikTok is because a minute, he has to do 22 minutes to get his reality show. If that's a minute and everyone moves on, then he is going to get his ratings.
Right. Well, but I mean, for me, it's like the power of advertising, but for free, with the same potential reach, spread, and ubiquity.
Right. And what I think is awesome is TikTok in general, because everyone thinks it's just music videos. There's planner videos, there is cricket hacks, there is makeup hacks, whatever you can contain within a minute.
Yeah. Well, but here's the thing for me, though, and why I get so excited, is it is literally, restated, it is the power of choosy moms choose. No, fill in the blank. Choosy moms choose. Jeff.
Oh.
The peanut butter commercial.
Okay.
Stuck in my brain forever. Apparently not you. You didn't have a choosy mom. You didn't watch a lot of television.
Dealt with my mother. Do you think she's not choosy?
Well, exactly. Thank you, Emily.
We'll pick up the other part there.
He has a headache. I'm so sorry. But no, thank you. But no, choosy moms choose Jeff. The best part of waking up
is Folgers in my cup.
There you go. It's that kind of thing, like that ability to have that kind of 30-second power, or in this case, just even 5 seconds of power spread throughout the world for free.
Mm-hmm.
You know how much advertising executives made off of that, of Folgers, and off of Jeff, and finding like this condensed, super strong thing that would go viral. It gets me every time. I'm like, that is just awesome when it happens.
Right. But go on to her other comments, because this even wasn't him.
Oh, so he put all his lecture videos public and posted a welcome video thanking all the new people and reacting to his unexpected fame. Oh, sorry. One of his students made a couple of clips from his lecture and posted them to TikTok, and he went from 36 subscribers, his class, to 10,000. So the professor put all of his lecture videos public and posted a welcome video.
Awesome.
Oh, it's amazing.
Emily, if you got that link, go ahead and share that in the YouTube comments. I don't mind spreading that.
Oh, yeah.
Art history, people think that I make jokes about art history. No, I make jokes about people that take degrees that ain't going to grow them into anywhere. Like, I am not an artist. That's not my job.
Well, yeah. Well, art history is helpful if you are an artist, or it's helpful if you want to learn about that and you can afford to go, okay, I want to learn about that. And it's really awesome when you can learn about things for free.
Exactly.
We like that concept. Or, you know what I mean? Like, I want to know more about this. I don't want to get a degree in this.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I understand if I'm going to get a degree and be able to go do a thing.
I still think you should finish your Russian lit degree.
Oh, Russian lit?
Uh-huh.
Come on.
You need more stuff on your wall.
I know, but there's no way in hell that professor is not dead by now.
Yeah, you may want to debate that. Although, let's answer this question and then we'll get into that discussion.
Okay. So Terry said, and 31357, the last time I stayed there, he came home from Florida, and about 5 hours later, he brought me home, and I haven't seen him since. What's up? And she is, I believe, talking about Mark Mark wanted to take our relationship slow, the last time.
Well, I grabbed my rose under the rose Lenormand here. So we of course know that with the moon you're dealing with your fears. Looking at the relationship, we see the stork here, and that means a lot of growth and needing to take the high road. And what's going on is, of course, he's dealing with his child and child drama. So what's going on? He isn't having enough time to put everything together, and he doesn't want to drag you into it. Give it about a week, and you'll probably hear from him. All right.
Yeah, so the rest of Emily's comment is the reason why his lessons are so great is that he talks about how about art as how it expresses the culture of the people who created it. So it's, in addition to being an art history lesson, it's also a cultural history lesson.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's like a lot of the symbolism in tarot and how it gets tied into the culture of the times. But anyhow, speaking about your alma mater, UNCG.
Where did we speak about that?
Well, you were talking about the professor still being alive.
Oh, yeah, that part.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't mean that in a bad way, or I don't mean to say it necessarily so bad. It's just, oh man, Dr. Rosenblum was a little old when I was a student, and that was 15 years ago. I'm pretty sure he's one, retired by now, and two, if he hasn't, even if whether or not he retired, right after he taught our class, I fear that he's probably already passed. I mean, he was a really nice guy, and an amazing professor. He made Russian Lit so easy. Like, that's why I ended up taking so many of his classes that I almost had a minor. I was one class away from a minor in Russian Lit because his classes were fun if you bothered to read. And yes, I know that's crazy, fun Russian Lit, but they were. So Kathy has a question.
Okay.
And 72862. I have not heard from the malpractice attorney. Any idea why or when I will hear from him?
Let's take a look and see. Still going to use this one.
Okay.
I'm really liking this Lenormand.
Okay. So that's which, I'm sorry, the Lenormand deck is, let's talk about it.
Yeah, it's the 39 index cards. It's the down and dirty. I call it the down and dirty version of the tarot.
Okay.
The roses. It's a totally different card system that I'm trying to learn. Trying to practice. So
there we go.
My victims.
Now, is it one of the card sets that also has like the explanation of the card on the card?
Nope.
No. Okay, sorry. I saw the big box at the bottom. I wasn't sure.
Yeah. All right. I feel like he's trying to be a little cunningness with the fox popping up here. I also feel like with the tree coming up that he's trying to make sure that he covers all his boundaries. And with the lilies coming up here, I think that it's going to be a very fruitful thing, but I think he's got to play his game first.
Okay.
So he may be trying to shoot for more money or get more money.
Okay. Well, Jessica says it's more like fortune-telling cards. Response?
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we need to get you like the little glass box and the little Swami hat and like.
I will gladly wear a turban because I think they're just cool, and I can put some jewelry on there, and that'd be awesome. I will not do a glass box. We have discussed this. That's the reason I am not doing the live events.
Hey, Gwen. See, Gwen's there. And Gwen, please post the schedule for tomorrow. And we will gladly take a reading for your friend. Now, are we technically reading for you because your friend is under 18? Or can we get their birthday?
Yep. And name.
And name.
Nope. She's not over 18, honey.
Okay, Jessica, 5/21/1979. Okay, let's go, Gwen. Pop it in.
Need a question.
Yes.
But no, I like these. I've been exploring. I've wanted a deck of these for a while now because these remind me of another deck I used to have.
Oh, yeah. Jessica's saying that she gets those types of cards and hasn't mastered it. She even got like a tea leaf card set.
Oh.
That sounds kind of fun. Is it like the individual tea leaf patterns? Or is it like a whole, like draw a card and it's just a whole tea leaf thing?
Kathy, you'll be signing those papers within 2 weeks.
Oh, there we go. All right, so Gwen's question for Jessica is, will she move beyond her path quickly, and how can I help her? So 2 parts.
All right. So first up is, of course, the house. This is her looking at her full self. Right now, of course, we have the grave, and when we have the grave, that also represents, not really making it there, putting things to rest, which is what she does. She does it quickly, and moving on to the tree. So to answer your question, how can you help her? Give her a little chill time, a little self-care. Be there with the Haagen-Dazs and, the wine if you need to. Will she move through it quickly? Yeah, very quickly. Actually, probably faster than she thinks she'll even do it. But don't let this become her crutch. And this is kind of the funny, comments from this deck. So, of course, what card pops up is the cross. If she's going to move forward quickly, the deck is kind of like, get off the cross. One needs the wood.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, I was basically going to say, is this going to be one of those things of like, go have the mental breakdown? Like, just totally wallow in the problem and the pain. And you get to do that for like a very short period of time, and then everyone needs to go kick Jessica's ass and get her back out there. Like, if she doesn't do it herself, go kick her ass. Like, give her a little time to wallow, and then. But you answered that actually as you were going.
Yep.
And so, yeah, that's what I was hearing.
Oh, but no, she'll be fine.
Yeah, so Kathy was just anxious about, like, how long?
Yeah, you just got to let it roll, honey, because he's being a little fussy. He's going to try to steal something. I.e., steal something from them, get you more money, get you better money, get you more cash, something to that effect.
All right. So basically, yes, there's a delay kind of situation, but it's only helping her.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And Jessica's playing along with her deck. Cool.
Yes. And so, yeah, Gwen says that she has tried and that she will keep pushing. So maybe that's an intervention kind of moment. Like, literally, seriously, like, go take a band of people and go, honey, we know you're hurting. We're here to help.
Well, either that or do what I do. Ring. I'll be at the door in 15 minutes. Have your shit on. We're going out.
Oh, please, you say it nothing like that.
Okay, how do I say it?
Get a shower and some clothes on. We're going out. There is no option. Shut up and get off my phone. Get in the shower.
Exactly.
So, yes. Those are other techniques.
Kidnapping is allowed in this situation. You just have to make sure when you return them, they're at least halfway sober.
Yeah.
So one of your favorite offers and my favorite movie writers is getting some shit.
Yes. Oh my God. Has anyone else been seeing like the shit that Stephen King gets? Like, there was the original, like, someone made the comparison of like 2020 and COVID and all this to The Stand. And Stephen King is like, it is nothing like The Stand. And the same person literally came back and asked, like, did you even read the book? And it's like, hello, are you listening? Like, do you not understand who you're talking to?
Right.
Like, he wrote it. Like, when people say, I wrote the book on it, he literally means it in the situation. He wrote the book. So he gets to say whether or not it is like The Stand. But then we turn around and there was another one today, and I've forgotten. Oh, help me out here. Okay. It was the same kind of like BS-y moment of like, are you frigging kidding me?
Oh, he posted a meme.
Was it that there was a misspelling in it, or was it that it wasn't a misspelling, but someone read it wrong?
No, there was a misspelling in it. It was meant to be a misspelling.
Yeah. Oh, an intentional misspelling. Yes.
Right. A minister, a priest, and a rabbit walk into a bar.
Yes, and the rabbit says, "I think I'm a typo."
No.
And someone said, basically that you misspelled that. Like, you really shows on you as an author. Put author in quotes. Like, your friend who said, well, I'm writing a book, and now they're a writer. You know, it's like, okay, well, when you get published, then we'll call you a writer. You know, you working on a book for 30 years that never gets published because it never gets finished, not really a writer there, dude.
Well, that's why there's not an Aeson author page up yet. I have been published a number of times.
Yeah. So Kathy's hanging in there.
Cool.
Oh, yes. I totally get it. I'm a little confused on the last one.
She's talking about groups and publishing and posting.
Oh, yeah. And politics and
politics. And we cover politics. I think me and you differ, Kathy, on police. I support police, but I think that we need to reform them quickly. I don't support paid military.
Well, to like boil it down for me is like, if we're talking about officers and it's the Stephen Hofstetter comic. And if you don't know who Stephen Hofstetter is, he is an amazing comedian. But he was getting heckled by an officer at an event, and because he makes this joke about Officer Alvarez. I'm not going to give all his material away. But this officer who was at his show and drunk literally tries to like punch people out, steal their drinks, is talking through the show. All of this stuff is going on. And it all because this guy got upset because he tells this joke. And it's like the joke is about shitty cops. So if you're getting upset about the joke about shitty cops, you're kind of self-identifying as a shitty cop.
Exactly. But, where was I headed with that? Around in circles, I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, it's been one of those weeks, because we weren't planning for the planner attack.
Yeah, we weren't.
No, but it happened. It happened very quickly, and if you look for that video to be coming out, we're going to. I don't know. Let's kind of talk about some things that are coming out in our Patreon newsletter this month.
Oh gosh. So we've got a few different things going on there. So first of all, we do want to thank our Patreon supporters, Beverly Walker and the Crystal Lotus Shop. Crystal Lotus Shop is located at 89 Old Main Plaza in St. Albans, West Virginia. Be sure to check them out. They are absolutely awesome. And so if you would like to become a Patreon supporter, which we're going to detail some of those benefits, please visit PCSPnetwork.com, and you can find out more about the show as well as how to become a Patreon supporter.
Right.
So, yes, good night, Gwen. And so some of the things we're talking about.
Well, of course.
I'm so sorry. You're going to have to help me.
Well, we're going to have Aeson's Terrascope. The old one done. That is going to be brought back up into the Patreon newsletter. We're going to also be covering my Abundance Notebook and the Baby Steps Out of Debt.
Yes.
Those are two will be combined into one article. You're going to be
long-term cost of tech.
Yeah, the long-term where you should be investing your tech at.
Yes. Because tech is expensive. Like, are we all on that same page? Like, I know I'm there, but tech is expensive. Like, I outfit our house early with her devices. This wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't wait. And that happens, and it's cool. It's not always bad, but also it's understanding, like, what are you getting out of your tech? What, because we all get drug into that, like, infomercial mindset. Really, like, the infomercial thing works, and it's like, take my money. Like, cool, I have a virtual assistant. That's amazing. But is it for everyone? Is it going to work for you? Are you really looking at how you're spending your money?
Right. So you're going to be talking about that. We're also going to be talking about how to have tech. The other article you're working on is about tech and money.
Yes. That one it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I don't want to give that one away. So we'll go ahead and leave that one there, mysterious.
Yeah. So that'll hopefully coming out over the next 2 weeks. And then, of course, we're also going to have spotlights about the two authors we had. We have one coming up in August, and we have one in August and one in September. Those are going to be in both issues, the interviews with them. So that's the newsletter. Videos that we're looking at doing is maybe our favorites. And I don't know if I want to do that as a live show or if I want to do that as a recorded video.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to be putting out, of course, Patreon gets them a week ahead of time. I do have a deck called the Light Seekers deck.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to get a review. I'm also going to show you Aeson's planner because I actually Franken plan and transfer plan in my planner. So those are the two videos out for next month.
Mm-hmm.
And what else are we doing? There's something else. Oh, and you've got a background due out.
Oh, I've got a background due out.
An inspirational background.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Oh, it's been a lot, you know?
Yeah, it has. It's been a lot. There's been a lot of news, a lot of things. But guys, I will be up in Brighton early at 9 a.m. tomorrow. You will probably see a live video because I am live streaming. PCS Network will be live streaming Central West Virginia Pagan Pride.
Yes, we will.
Across our bands, across our networks. And I am hopping back into a seat that I haven't had in a while as MC. So that'll be awesome. And no, I'll be on tonight because I'm getting my gorgeous sleep.
Yes, you are. And yes, so Gwen didn't get the schedule, but I am sure if you go to Facebook and you check out Central West Virginia Pagan Pride, you can see the full lineup.
Mm-hmm.
It is, are we live all day long?
We are live all day long, and then afterwards we will probably do post-production for each individual episode speaker.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool deal.
Yes.
Yay.
Hey, so you guys get to see some more video production. I've got to go and redecorate the studio and all that fun stuff in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah, so that'll be awesome. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, a great weekend. Hope you join us on Saturday. And if not, we'll be back here Tuesday with the Sega Coffee Shop. So until then, good night, y'all. Good night, Joe.
Good night.